So funny.
All right. We're live. I got some guests for this week. Well, we have the regular Velocity's part of the show.
I'm always here.
Yeah, but we have Lunga.
Fuck it. We're going live. We'll do it live.
Yeah, we were having great behind the scenes conversation. We're just like, let's just go live with this. We're gonna talk about the AJWs, and I keep using it. I want it to trend eventually.
I do like it.
Asshole justice warriors, justice for assholes above everything else. Put your rights above everyone else's, and anti-justice. Yeah, they're anti-justice because what do you have? Social justice warriors or
my right to be an asshole trumps your right to feel comfortable.
Right, exactly. In their safe spaces, in the pool house, and that's.
And the irony of that is the whole movement started because they're like, why is your right to being comfortable trumping my right to be an asshole? Yeah. That's what it's literally what started it. So, hey, whatever.
So, yeah, I'm going hard on them. And that's why I have Lunga here. Lunga's got a Twitch story. Here's the other thing. Yeah. Well, oh, sorry, what? Oh, no, yeah, I forgot to say. I was explaining to I got to tweet this out first. I was explaining to Boshti the other reasons I call him the pool boy. But before I do that, let me tweet out.
Actually, before you do that, because you're supposed to be doing this, all right. Talk about Gray is the Way.
Oh, yes. Gray is the Way. Website, .com, especially as the weeks go on. People are realizing, this is not just, it's another flu. No, it's more serious than the flu. The percentage is like 3 times as deadly. At right now, and you don't understand once it gets spread and you can't control how it's spread, it's possible. I don't want to even say this out loud because I do not want it to happen, but viruses mutate. They could, once they get more get out there more. So a certain percentage is affected now. You don't know what's going to change in the future, and by then it'd be too late. All right. What is it?
No, Dead Poop's here, so I'm just excited.
And I still didn't do it. I still didn't tweet it out. All right, hold on. Yeah, hey, Dead Poop.
Anyway, what he was saying is we have a website, our Gray Order merchandise store. It has a bunch of Gray Order merch in there, shirts. There's a hat and some other stuff. We're going to put eventually some more stuff on there. But the 100% of all the profits go to the CDP COVID-19 response fund. You can pick yourself up some nice gear, and all the profits go to help people. None of it's going in our pockets. It's all going to help people being affected by this in many ways. So if you guys find it in your hearts and you can afford it in your wallet, I'm not asking anyone to stretch themselves beyond what they can do. Please go ahead and pick yourself up something. And if you don't want any merch, you just want to donate, the link is on there as well to directly go and donate to the fund as well.
And you guys can always find me on Instagram. I will be incorporating a donation sticker into all of my Instagram stories. As I announced, I am doing a sci-fi horror mini-series that will be hosted exclusively on IGTV. So with every announcement, I will go ahead and add the donation sticker that will be contributing to the same fund. So if any of the merchandise tiers do not work for you and you need to contribute to something that fits a little bit more into your budget, I completely understand. Just find me on Instagram and we'll go ahead and try to make you can go ahead and make those donations there as well, and we'll help you support as you gain support while staying at home and basically trying to protect those who are most vulnerable to said subject that cannot be named because we'll get abused by the algorithm.
Right. That might be. I just maybe I shouldn't say this. I just think I figured out why live streams might be, because they have no control. It's all the bots now. If someone with this, with the Bud Light, if someone does something really crazy on a live stream, they have no way to. It's going to be harder to shut it down and get it trending and stuff. So that's why they're really.
When I was on with Lewis the other night, he's like, it's after he said it like 8 times in a row, like purposely, and nothing happened. But Fanime friends, we were getting shut down for no damn reason.
Well, there was a lot of like conflicting announcements that were also going live, like from the CDC, and I think because of the platform moderation system that YouTube has at play, they are probably being affected by the outbreak in ways that they're not really able to disclose. So we also have to anticipate that they have to default to that algorithm, and that they may have not foreseen and thus been able to train or properly strategize for this to spread as quickly and for information and misinformation to go as viral as it did. So just be patient. The AI has to learn. So as YouTube kind of figures this out, the content creators and us will just have to continue to adjust to the pivots in that said algorithm. So just hang in with us, folks. We're going to get it figured out.
Sure. Thanks for that insights, behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, Marcia. For sure.
Now we will get to the AJWs. And also, let me highlight. Oh, let me go back to the comments. It's not pure hatred of the fandom menace, Star Wars Dad, and I appreciate you being here. I really do. It's calling out bad behavior. Calling out hate is not hate. It's not. It's not. It's wanting to have conversations, and I've got to the point now where people do not want to have conversations anymore. That's what I've said from the beginning. I want different opinions to work it out on stream in conversations, and when you it shows what the reality of a person when you want to have those conversations and then they just avoid you. Now, we're not getting these conversations anymore. That's why this week of woke is so important. I'm not gonna stop talking about this stuff. And what's been happening is spinning a narrative of companies shutting down when the whole world is shutting down, and calling it now they're learning about woke, and mocking the industries with their former co-workers is absolutely disgusting, and turning it real political when people are suffering right now. Now, we are going to to be fair, I thought I'd bring up the New Warriors, which is really getting a lot of people talking. It's bad. It's a bad series of events to have this as a Marvel thing right when they're having issues with their distribution. So no, it was not a good look, but it's not the only comic Marvel produces.
Yeah.
It's one series. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It is. I do want to comment on, I think that Star Wars Dad said that you hit on what he said. Okay. It's pure the fandom menace, but which is not, again, like Max said, it's not hatred, it's countering. If you can't understand that, I mean, there's a subtle difference. If they can, go after Brie Larson and Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm and God knows who else in their multiple videos with abject hatred, and all we do is say, hey, what you're saying is kind of wrong, and you consider that hatred, then maybe you should redefine what you think hatred means. But other than that, you said Disney started the fight. You really believe, here's the thing, you really believe Disney made these movies just to look at people like you and say, ha, fuck you? Is that what you really believe? I mean,
that's what, to be fair, that's what a lot believe. Yes.
No. They can believe it all they want. Okay. I can believe in a Jolly Green fucking giant. That doesn't mean it exists. Okay. You can believe in the spaghetti monster, but it doesn't mean it exists. Okay. You can force a narrative as much as you want, but if you got to be pragmatic and realistic about it, they're a movie company looking to make money. The idea is not to piss off people. Okay. If some do, a small minority, which, sorry guys, but you people in the fandom menace are a small minority. You're not the majority. Maybe you got a big voice on Twitter, just like the far left SJWs have a big voice on Twitter, and as we see from the primaries, aren't the majority. Doesn't mean that that's what Disney's trying to do. Okay. Disney is just putting out a product, and are there some more liberal people there, just like yours in Hollywood for, I don't know, ever? Yeah. But when you call it a fight, you're literally saying they made this movie just to piss you off. They didn't start a fight with you. They made a movie. You started a fight when you went after them about a damn movie.
Well, I feel they do have their agendas too to counter you a little bit, Lunga, but that's not the only. They want to make money. It's not
counter me with facts, not conjecture. You're counting me. They counter with not with facts. They counter with conjecture. That's bullshit. Counter with facts, please.
Well, the point of view that I've heard from videos is once they just don't care about the money at all. They're just going to double down on their characters, which is completely wrong based on the Rise of Skywalker. They pretty much addressed everything.
Again, that's conjecture, Max. That's conjecture. That's not facts.
All right.
But
I'm telling you the argument, though.
Oh, I know the argument intimately.
All right. Bashti, we are going to get to the. I don't know if you've heard about the new Warriors. This is what a lot of the fandom is talking about, and unfortunately, it has one of the last announcements before Diamond Distribution shuts down distribution to comic book shops. Comic book shops are suffering. No thanks to Comicsgate. I'm sorry, they are not helping. These indie comic book creators they're sustaining their careers, but this isn't helping the comic book shops at all. And to mock them, people are losing their jobs in this stuff. It's making me sick, especially a lot of the delays. I hear rumors the delays for the movie is because it's got like James Bond, it's got the woke virus, not because of the other one. And they're reworking it because it was too woke. This is the kind of conversations that are on the internet right now.
Okay.
Longa, do you want to share your tweets? The twits?
It's your show. I'm just a guest.
Yeah, but well, people want to know behind the scenes. This is what we were talking about right before we went live. So
it's true.
Might as well share it.
Some fun stuff.
Oh, and I did tell Bashti the other reason I call him the Poi Boy is he's always in he's always in the Full House. I hope he has a nice family life, but
there's your next video. Is it the pool house or the dog house?
Oh, that's that's throwing heat. That's great. Oh, I gotta write that down.
I'm just being the idea man for you. That's all.
No, that's great. Is it the Full House or the dog house? I can make a great thumbnail with that. I was also thinking about doing Geeks and Gamers news, making fandom great again. Dismantling the arguments, but I think we kind of just do that already on This Week in Woke. So this is this show. All right, so that's half the reason I call him the Pool Boy. He's always in the pool house, dog house.
I just warn you, if you want me to go through these tweets and I start going through them, just be aware that I may end up monopolizing the conversation while I'm going through it because
we are having you on. We understand that risk. Yeah. Just by having you on, we understand that. Bashti, did you understand that risk before he said anything?
I read the fine print. I tried to put first child, whatever. Cheers. Read on.
But you have. I'm happy to listen though, Daddy.
That's fine.
I'm gonna get educated, so it's fine.
Well, some of these people need to be educated. And I don't mean how to be educated socially, but just like
teach us, Daddy. Teach us.
Educated,
put that on a shirt and sell it. Yeah.
Coming to the Gray Order merch store soon. Anyway, so yeah, I've been doing this last few days, and I do it purposely because people, and this ends up tilting towards another group. Okay, but when we talk about mostly geeks and gamers, like I say, I can't even say fandom menace. Okay, just geeks and gamers. They like to say I'm obsessed when it's like I really don't talk about you guys as much as you think I do. That you talk about Brie Larson and Kathleen Kennedy and haters and SJWs and women and all this shit way more than I ever invoke your name. Now I consider you guys alternative media, and if you can criticize Access Media, I can criticize alternative media just like you do, and you are one. And if you want to criticize, you need to learn how to take the criticism as well. And I'm sorry that makes you angry. That doesn't mean I'm obsessed. It doesn't mean I'm jealous. I seriously am not jealous in any fucking way, shape, or form. I'm pretty goddamn fucking happy. But this is the term they all go to, and it goes on in here too again, which is funny. And it's not even from Geeks and Gamers. But at any rate, I've been putting up just one tweet, usually a retweet of something they say, and just make a snarky comment on it. And then they get all angry. well, sorry. In this case, it wasn't really Fandom Menace got angry or Geeks and Gamers, it was other people. But so Exaggeration Nation from Geeks and Gamers put up this photo. And if you see the whole photo, it's a dolphin chasing a woman.
Oh no.
And it says, "You're gonna learn today." Now, for those who aren't familiar, before I go into the tweet, what this is a play off of, if you haven't heard of this, it happens in nature quite often. It's happened in aquariums.
Trigger content warning.
Trigger content warning. Dolphins are very sexual creatures, and just like a dog humps your leg, imagine a 1,000-pound dog with a very much larger penis, and it's not going for your leg. That's basically what dolphins end up doing to some people sometimes.
I'm not swimming with the dolphins anytime soon.
Yeah. They're scary. Now, you can't blame the dolphin. They're animals. They're not, as much as we think they're intelligent, they are, but they're still animals. They're not, free-thinking individuals like we are. So unfortunately, this does happen.
Look what the free-thinking individuals do on the internet.
But nice segue, Max. Thank you. That's perfect. Perfect segue. But the free-thinking individuals think it's funny to associate what a mindless dolphin does to Jeremy, because apparently this is what Jeremy does when he's stalking his SJW prey, is rape him. Now, here's the thing. I understand this is meant to be a funny haha. I get it. Okay, this is not me being uber serious, like, oh my God, he's advocating rape. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you're a rational fucking human being, and there's a million things you can do to be funny on the internet, this is what you go to. This is the
every time.
This is the low-hanging fruit you need to go for. And not only that, this is the low-hanging fruit you need to go for when people already label you misogynist. This is your choice to go with. Not a good choice if you don't want to be, if you cry about being labeled misogynist. Maybe you shouldn't say this kind of shit. But they do. Now, I think it's kind of funny they do, because it allows me to say shit like this. Playing on how dolphins are known to rape humans, nothing to be ashamed of there. That's all I said. Then it goes on. Kermit, me and him had a back and forth. Kermit's Kermit. We know Kermit he's very inappropriate. But you know what? At least I can say one thing about Kermit. He doesn't go out attacking other people or talking shit about other people. He just finds strange shit funny. So I give him a little bit of a pass on that, even though he goes too far sometimes. But the point is,
Bianca, thanks. I made a typo.
He doesn't attack anyone. Now, this was just me and Kermit going back and forth about this thing. And out of nowhere comes my old buddy Angus, who's War Campaign, who hasn't talked to me in a while now. And mind you, I haven't talked about War Campaign in what, Max? Over a month and a half. It's been a while since I talked about War Campaign, because I was tired of them. I didn't even want to listen to their shit. He pops in here, which, mind you, he's the one who says he's not Fandom Menace. He hates them, and he hates Geeks and Gamers even. Remember? So he goes, Kermit, you're bringing back a traumatic event back to life, and apparently there's a meme now of me being raped by a dolphin. Picked my good picture, though. I'm kind of upset that he picked a picture that I already cropped. I mean, he could have been a little bit more inventive, but that's fine. So, and I wish my hair was that long sometimes, but it's not.
Oh my God, Morbius vibes much.
They are obsessed with taking people that do not want it.
With the sides being shaved and the undercut and me trying to grow this out long, my daughter keeps saying, or my son keeps saying, you trying to be Skrillex? I'm like, no, I'm not trying to make it grow that long.
This gives me flashbacks of that stupid Jimmy John's owner.
Now, mind you, this in of itself, I've had memes done. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't offend me. That's the thing they don't understand. Like, when I'm on here talking, it's usually in defense of an idea, in defense of, what's just not. There's funny, and then there's just like purposely, like you said, or we talked about earlier, purposely being an asshole just for being an asshole's sake. And while I'm pretty strong and I can take it, there's lots of people that necessarily can't. And at that point, you're just doing it just to hurt people. And that's where I try to be the defender for people that may not be. Doesn't offend me, doesn't bother me. You can make these all fucking day. I don't care. But so this is how I chose to answer now with Angus, and this is where I was hitting him below.
Well, look at his icon too.
Yeah. It's a picture of, and they had hands grabbing on AOC's boobs and everything. Now, mind you, we want to highlight something right here, because a lot of them do this. Notice his name is Black Angus Reviews. Caesar is Lord. That's how much he loves EVS. He is his Lord and Savior. Cyberfrog, Jesus Christ, sunshine. So I said, because I've talked to Angus quite a bit. Angus, I know you well enough to realize how uninspired and unintelligent you are. So from you, this is expected. Enjoy the mediocrity Enjoy your mediocrity of always hailing other men above you, sheeple. So, because this is what he's doing. And to be fair, if maybe he doesn't want this out or maybe he doesn't care, I don't know. The whole point he's sucking up the EVS the way he is because he wants to sell a comic book because he's hurting for money. So he wants to suddenly become a creator when he's never been one before. I had this guy on the phone with me talking about how I'm going to start reading Hulk comic books because I never rented before so I can get a point of reference of how to write my Meth Gator. Maybe you should have been interested in comics before at 30 something you decided to do this because you think it's easy money if you suck up the EVS. Again, maybe I'm taking this a little personally because I've been wanting to be a writer since I was 13 and I've been writing for a very, very long fucking time, which plays into this layer, which is funny.
Well, that explains the problems Comicsgate is having for fulfillment.
Yeah.
All these people that just started and just to jump on a wagon.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, here's the thing. I am not begrudging anybody making money. Make all the money you want. EVS is doing spectacular with the money. Okay. He has a very phonetic following and they spend money. That's great. Do you, boo? I don't care. No, I'm not saying you should be deplatformed. I'm not saying you shouldn't stop being able to make your comic books. Make whatever the hell you want. I'm not trying to stop you at all. I'm not like, pressing things that should be destroyed. I'm not saying that. But I will counter if they say something stupid. And he goes, you're just mad that the dolphin was granted custody of y'all's spawn. That was a pretty lame joke. So I just said, you're just mad because you provide no valuable asset to society except as a sycophant. Sorry if that hurts your sheelings. I'm insecure.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And then he goes, you're a dweeb hall monitor trying to police jokes. And I said, oh.
No, you have one joke. You have one joke. That's it.
Where'd it go? Why is it not showing all my other thing? The other thing I said too. It's only showing one. I did two. Where's the other one? Oh, here we go. He says, you're a dweeb hall monitor trying to police jokes. And then I say, you're a lonely guy who no one loves who's trying to find it from a circle jerk internet group.
That explains.
So I guess he didn't like that too much. And I said, and then he didn't answer for a while. I'm like, oh, no answer. Guess the circle jerk is too busy calling another man Lord and Caesar. It's called dignity. Have some. It's free. And he goes, all you try to do is jerk off with your tears form due to the success of better creators. And
God.
Wait. This is where he shut up after this. He went away and then suddenly the rest of War Campaign came in.
Yeah.
I go, I have a book out, doing well. Ran a successful campaign on Stickfarter on Kickstarter on my own. Yeah.
Sorry.
Kickfarter.
Kickfarter
campaign on Kickstarter on my own. What have you done other than come up with a Cyberfog clone while sucking up to EVS for attention
no.
by looking like a complete loser with no spine? Don't worry, I'll wait. So this is when they all started to come in. He was like, you're looking at a guy who's sucking up now. Go back to your master. And I said to that one,
there's snow. Yes.
Yeah. And he put me marrying a dolphin with the painting. And I said, yeah, no answer. Cause I'm fucking right. You spineless sheep. I'd have feelings. I'd have to be failing at something to be jealous, you moron. Unlike you, I have no master except myself. Keep kneeling on that altar for attention and your circle jerk of lulz. So that's when the rest of them all came in. And yeah, Keith, of course, he says, I love circle jerks. I said, not surprising. Then we started getting more memes from this guy who's War Campaign.
Where did he even get that image from your face? I don't even know.
No, it's a regular one, and they just like use the filters where they like squishes stuff.
Okay.
And I go, once again, Angus is broken down and discredited for the spineless sheeple of a man he is. His other brothers in wool arrive with more circle jerk content showing no intelligence or addition to society. Tell me, how does it feel to only be a man with the support of other men? So, they keep, how does it feel to be a humorless chungless? How does it feel to be half a man who needs to worship other to feel strong? So, I just keep hitting them where they're trying to hit because they keep hitting the same things that don't bother me. And I know the stuff I'm saying is hitting those nerves, which made them join War Campaign to begin with. Okay. Now, the bottom line of this is, and this is what I have to say to all of them. Every last one of you in War Campaigns are uninspired, uneducated, untalented hacks who cannot put out anything creative on your own, who have no inspiration, who have nothing in their lives except worshiping a man who draws a frog comic book and then attacking others because you attack people. That is your entire existence. Your entire existence. That I'm a YouTube creator. I'm a writer. I'm going to be writing more books. I have lots of things that I'm doing. I have friends that doesn't involve all of us getting together to attack other people. I am not sad in my life. I have, believe this or not, compared to all of you, a girlfriend who lives with me. Okay.
That hurt. That hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt.
Yeah.
That's
And you know what? You
real.
guys can put all the dildo dongs you want out. We have them in our house because we have sex toys, and we actually use them.
Oh wait,
because she finds it fun.
Damn it!
Okay,
I took them off the big screen at the wrong moment.
Yeah. Okay. We actually have them, and they're not a point of insult. They're something that she enjoys having, and I would gladly use them on her. Let her use them if she wants to. So you know what? There's no insult when you put a rainbow dildo dong on me, because you know why? I don't need it for myself like you guys do. So enjoy yourselves. If this is what you have fun with, go ahead. Knock your socks off. I'm not saying you guys need to be banned. I'm not saying you need to be stopped. But what I'm saying is you don't scare me. You don't offend me. But I will damn well point out how stupid you are every time I fucking see it. And if that bothers you, I'm sorry I hurt your fifis. There's nothing I can do about that, because you think it's okay to hurt people's fifis for no reason other than being who they are. So if I hurt your fifis because you're being an asshole, I'm sorry. Do you have the right to be one? Yes, I have the right to call you one.
Yeah.
That's
well
all.
said.
That's about it.
Vashti. Yeah, I mean, this is what we're talking about. We're calling them out, and I want people to use that AJW because it's absolutely true. Once they are named, they lose more power. That's what I feel. They're already losing power.
Yeah, and here goes phobic. You're just proving to them what they say bothers you. You know why you think that, phobic? Because you were one of those shitheads. And you think like them. I don't care, Max. I don't care if you like him. I'm going to call him out too, because here's the thing. All he is right now is War Campaign without the affiliation, because he still talks the same. He still treats people the same. And the reason why he left our Discord is because people didn't like how much of a shithead he was in there. So you still act the same way, Phobic. Okay. And here's the thing. You can say it bothers me all you want. It obviously doesn't. But I will sit here and call people out. And what you consider bothering me is passion, because none of this offends me in any way, shape, or form. I'm a very happy man. I have a happy life. I will go upstairs and get a happy blowjob later. So none of this offends me.
Wow.
And if you want to paint it that way just because you're a douche in the comments, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Please continue. I will return the show back to the hosts.
I don't know where to go after that. Well, we are going to talk about how they are spinning it with the diamond distribution and how it's not something to applaud. Look, this situation's hard on everyone. SJWs are people too. Even these AJWs are people. I don't wish them. Like I said, I want Cyberfrog to be a success, but it's not a success because remember the video I did long ago? I went through the numbers. Average price per backer is doubled for this campaign, and the backers have.
It does.
Backers have declined to half.
You know why I don't follow up on that though, or why I don't care? Because that to me is about the man's business, and I don't care about the man's business. He could do whatever he wants. He could claim whatever he wants. I don't care if he thinks or claims Cyberfrog is the biggest hit ever to hit comics. He can make that claim all he wants. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care because it doesn't affect me. It doesn't have any effect on me at all whatsoever. It doesn't have an effect on any people whatsoever. He can claim that all he wants. I don't care. What has an effect is when they go online and start attacking en masse people just because they have shitty comments about people, and then people defend it and say defend themselves or defend others, and then they go on this mass campaign of attacking people just because they want to get publicity for their stuff. That's when that's what becomes a problem. Their sales, spin it however you want to make your money. That's what businessmen do. I can't even.
Well, that's what they're doing now. They're attacking their former coworkers that are now like Gail Simone has entered YouTube. they're making fun of her, mocking her to try to fund more Indiegogos. And listen, this is bad for Comicsgate too, the distribution, because the actual printers that get their comics to Diamond Distribution, they need to keep, for Comicsgate to exist, it needs these printing companies to have frequent work too. If they go under and those people are stopped working, look at the comic industry. SJW's ruined it. It's horrible. Look, we told you the writing's on the wall. And then the printers have an issue now maintaining business because they don't have constant work. What are they going to do? Do it to themselves?
No, it won't affect them because they don't fulfill their shit. It takes them 2 years to get out one book. So it's not going to affect them. By the time they actually get this to the printers and mailed out, if they do, this will be all be over. So it won't affect them.
All right. Well, that was
I mean, how long did it take Cyberfrog to get sent out, to get completed?
Yeah. Well, that's the spin that they're doing, and they need the printers to function like normal too. It's not good for anyone. In comic shops, they started this stuff saying, look at what the comic books industry, Marvel and DC, are doing to comic book shops. What has Comicsgate done for them at all? But Bashti, I don't know if you've seen this yet. That I'm sorry, this one's hard to defend. That we're gonna watch the new Warriors trailer. Did you see it yet?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so just to get a fair perspective, this is what they're taught. They're abusing this trailer like crazy for their narrative, but it's not every comic though. It's one comic series. Hold on a second. Let me get it up here. I had it. Where is it? And I think it has like 2% upvotes. Oh boy. Oh, they also have Children of the Atom, which I actually think Children of the Atom looks kind of cool. But I'll bring this up first because this is a big point of conversation. This does qualify for This Week in Woke Vashti. It's being talked about a lot. All right. Everyone can see. Make sure you tell me if you hear the audio. I think everyone on the internet, most people on the internet have seen this. Hold on. Let me make it bigger. Oh, wait. Am I showing? I'm showing the wrong thing. Whoops. Oh, I'm a professional.
We are professionals here.
I shared it wrong. I did the entire screen. I want to do tab. All right, now it should be fixed. Okay. Here we go.
My name is Daniel Kibblesmith, and I am the writer of New Warriors #1. I got interested in the New Warriors later. I remember seeing them on the shelf when I was a kid, picking up comics in the 90s, and just feeling like they were too cool for me. Like I was intimidated by, Night Thrasher who had a blade coming out of his wrist. Nova was really buff. They were all the edgy characters for the 90s, as the cover said. New Warriors, I thought, were really interesting characters because they occupy this really cool space. They're forever young, but they've now been around for 30 years. My editors on the previous books I'd done, like Loki and Black Panther versus Deadpool, asked if I would be interested in doing a New Warriors tie-in that actually poses them as the authority figures in this conflict instead of the rebels. And I really liked the tension of that. So because the New Warriors are the authority figures in this story, they have to be mentoring New Warriors who are under 21 and subject to the laws that triggered the outlawed event. This new law is making it illegal to be a vigilante under the age of 21. The artist on New Warriors #1 is Luciano
I'm going to stop there because I missed that at the beginning. That actually, even though I'm not a fan of these characters, that makes sense as to why they're younger. They're outlawed. With the story.
Here's the thing. This is what I don't understand. Here, would I read this? Fuck no. Would I enjoy this at all? No. I think it's stupid. It's done on the nose purposely.
Right,
okay,
right.
Let's be fair. It's done on the nose like that purposely. Now, here's the thing. Wasn't the complaint when they were doing stuff to characters, legacy characters, make your own? Wasn't that the complaint? Just go make your own. Go make your own. Well, they're making their own. And now you're attacking them for it. Why? No one wants to see that. Oh, no, hold on. But why do you care? They're not making it for you. They literally did what you asked and made their own. And it's not canceling all of Marvel Comics. They still have all their other titles. There was plenty of titles. I like DC better than Marvel. I didn't buy Marvel because most of the stories didn't interest me at the time. Well, don't buy this. Why is it even an issue? Who cares? You trying to get Bashti back, Max?
I don't know what happened. She all right? Let me. Messaged her. Well, I guess we can watch. Hopefully, Bashti comes back in.
He designed all of the new Warriors and gave them costumes that felt as modern as the new Warriors costumes to sort of feel classic and instantly familiar. So the first character that we're introduced to is Trailblazer. She's a group home and foster kid who is volunteering at a senior center when this mysterious threat shows up and Night Thrasher runs to the rescue. And because she helps him, she ends up in the crosshairs of this new outlawed law. And she inherited from her grandfather a magic backpack of divine origin. We picked the name Trailblazer because she's somebody who charges into action. She knows that she can do some good with this, mysterious gift that she's been given. Screen time is a internet kid taken to its sort of logical conclusion. As a youth, he was exposed to his grandfather's experimental internet gas, and that has patched him permanently into the World Wide Web. The word screen time is only ever used in a sort of restrictive sense. And because we're doing a story about teenage rebels, a lot of the names are about teens fighting against labels that are put on them. So with screen time,
I don't think that one's that bad. I mean, the name's a little cheesy, screen time, but I some of them are okay to me. Of course, we all know the one that broke this is coming up, and I hope Bashti's all right. I hope she's not upset or anything.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, she does have problems with the internet every now and then.
Yeah, that's true. All right, that's fine.
The idea that he has infinite screen time. Snowflake and Safe Space are twins, and their names are very similar to screen time. It's this idea that these are terms that get thrown around on the internet that they don't see as derogatory, to take those words and kind of wear them as badges of honor. Safe Space is kind of a big, burly, sort of stereotypical jock. He can create force fields, but he can only trigger them if he's protecting somebody else. Snowflake is non-binary and goes by they, them. Snowflake has the power to generate individual crystallized snowflake-shaped shurikens. The connotations of the word snowflake in our culture right now are something fragile. And this is a character who is turning it into something sharp. Snowflake is the person who has the more offensive power, and Safe Space is the person who has the more defensive power. The idea was that they would mirror each other.
Okay, Bashti, did you see that? That's the one that really got people.
No, sorry. Our Wi-Fi dropped out completely, so we had to restart the router. So what did I miss? Sorry.
This is the one where everyone is making fun of, because they're what the object of this comic is to take exactly the people we're talking about, the AJWs, what they like to harass, and they don't call it harassment. Every time you call them out, that's gone too far. That's really mocking people instead of laughing with them. They always say, what are you, the joke police? Are you monitoring the internet? It's never actually addressing what you're criticizing them of. It's to try to attack the way you're approaching it. Saying someone's this internet mocking has gone too far. They're putting people as objects of hate instead of treating them like people, even though they think this is silly. I personally think there's some things in here that are really silly. I also honestly don't think the artwork's that great too on some of the characters. I think if they looked a little bit cooler, it might be help a little bit, but the artwork doesn't look that great. But this is one comic. This isn't all of Marvel Comics either. Let's cancel that narrative completely. This is not all. There's lots of comics Marvel produces. Is there room for this? Yes, there is definitely room for it. The narrative they spin is, oh, this is so injected, and then, oh, look at what's happening to Diamond Distribution. This is why Marvel is failing and mocking their former co-workers. No, they have to take precautions, just like every business suffering in this world economy is suffering right now. And
right, it's a false equivalency.
Yeah,
they're not related. They're two separate issues that have nothing to do with each other. Let's see. They're trying to make legislation to inject money into every facet of society right now because businesses are about to shut down and close their doors because of what's going on. That's not because they're woke. That's because this is a freaking crisis going on right now. And
it's disgusting for them.
Everyone.
They say to double down. They are doubling down harder than ever because they see their views dropping. That's the clicks are stopping because people, and this is why we're Bashti. This is why this series is so important, and this is why we need to keep covering this stuff, because when the entertainment comes back, when these people get their jobs back and start doing regular work, people are going to want content and they're going to miss it like never before. And hopefully things bounce back even bigger. And
right.
Just negative crapping on everything is going to be a trend that's gone.
Right. But they complain about this and say, why are they doing this? Just go woke. It's this and that. But Cecil can have a comic book about a perverted, quasi-misogynistic superhero as a joke and have videos of raping Doug TenNapel.
Yeah, that just happened.
Yeah, that's catering to a very, very small audience, right? Because what's the point of it?
Maybe we should stop saying that R word after so many times in the video.
But unfortunately, this is what they revolve their ideas around, man.
I know.
Unconsensual relations.
You know?
Okay, that's good.
Non-consensual, sorry.
Non-consensual.
Right. And now here's the thing. Do I think it's crap just like this? Yeah, I do. I think it's crap just like this. Am I going to tell them they shouldn't be allowed to sell their stuff? No, sell it. There's a segment of the society that enjoys that crap. So if they want to buy it, buy it. Marvel wants to put this out. There's a segment of society who might enjoy it. If they want to buy it, they'll buy it. They're a big company. If it doesn't make money, it'll get canceled. Why are you worried about it?
And look, they got 10 times the views on this video than their last Marvel video, so it's actually making the money.
This isn't replacing the X-Men. All you did was give them free press.
Yeah.
For people who might like it, who aren't into comics, they're just going to buy it now just to spite you.
Guess what? Because of AJWs like Comicsgate, Menace of Fandom, and War Campaign that thrive on the internet, yes, there are a lot of people that maybe you think this is silly. There's a lot of people that this might represent that feel bullied. And this is why it's actually necessary. The proof is in the pudding and the downvotes that people bully people online. So maybe you think this is ridiculous, but there's some youth out there that, especially with the prevalence of social media, that feel like they're being bullied.
I got to tell you, a good chunk of those downvotes weren't people who think like them. It was just people that, like me, that look at this and go, oh my God, this looks horrible. It's cringy. It's just like, ugh. You know, that's
well, they send their mobs to it, like everyone that made a video.
Yeah, they do that too. But there's a good segment over there like that too. And there's mobs. I mean, there could be people that have 10, 20. I mean, we saw it just from that one troll that kept coming in on our stuff forever. You know what I mean? There's people who make 20, 30, 40, 50 accounts and just spend all day downvoting things or trolling things. So there's a possibility with that too. Now, but again, I can't this is just my opinion. I can't say the dislike of it is not warranted because it is cringy. It's just like, but
this one's not horrible. Screen time is kind of interesting. The ones that, these
remember when I said about
like
writing? Remember what I said about writing, about not making it on the nose? It makes a better story. This is purposely on the nose, like almost comic.
Well, they did this to get attention. It's just, they thought they'd have more on the side of actual social justice warriors, like going, yeah, but it didn't work out that way, unfortunately. Here's the part that gets the most attention, Vashti.
Screen time.
Okay.
Snowflake and Safe Space are the twins, and their names are very similar to screen time. It's this idea that these are terms that get thrown around on the internet.
They do.
That they don't see as derogatory, to take those words and kind of wear them as badges of honor. Safe Space is kind of a big, burly, sort of stereotypical jock. He can create force fields, but he can only trigger them if he's protecting somebody else. Snowflake is non-binary and goes by they, them. Snowflake has the power to generate individual crystallized snowflake-shaped shurikens. The connotations of the word snowflake in our culture right now are something fragile. And this is a character who is turning it into something sharp. Snowflake is the person who has the more offensive.
Now, I like what he's saying there. I like the idea of that. I don't know if they succeed with these two characters.
Well, I mean, I get what I'm sorry, Bashi, go ahead.
So here's the thing. Like, I fall under the woke category, and even I am just kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, but it's needed, you know, and sometimes I don't necessarily hate the reasons why these characters were created more so than I hate how almost like uncouth their like code names or like their, you know, like whatever like names, that the mantles that they take on, like those are gross, like just a little bit to me, just because of just, it didn't need to be that blatant. You know what I'm saying? Even just 1 degree separation, you know, just a little bit of subtlety would have been nice. But if they really feel like this is so like under the radar as far as like popular culture or just like buzzwords that are like really, you know, synonymous with pop culture, you know, cool, like that's fine. I can overlook the judgment decisions with the naming these characters because of the purpose that they serve in the Marvel Universe. It's really, I get how important identity tethering is in escapist fantasy. Essentially, my introduction to Marvel was the same way. X-Men was my dad's easiest way to educate me about the civil rights movement and how varying the perspectives could be, and how Professor X and Magneto represented, you know, two completely opposing, although minority-driven ideologies. So it's like, I get it, you know, and if you fuel that kind of creativity and if you give people that kind of sustenance, you know, to further fuel their identity as we continue to evolve as a culture, fantastic. I just think that the naming is gross. Like they could have done way better. They could have shot a little bit higher, you know, as far as naming these two characters.
Yeah, what I got for that, what made me think of was in the late 60s and 70s when they first started coming out with Black heroes. Black Lightning. I mean, they gave him just these overtly Afrocentric names.
Yeah, almost like blaxploitation, like
right.
adjacent, you know.
Right. And this is the way I look at it. There's going to be a curve, okay? Just like people look back on those at the time and were like, it was really cringy, you know, because it was just like, geez, you know. But it's going to be a curve where nowadays you have the Black heroes that are they're more commonplace, and they're there not because they're black, because they're black because they're part of society, not because
it's organic, it's reflective of like the status quo and diversity.
Exactly.
It's not a forced narrative.
Right. And with this one, it's going to have that same learning curve that we had with when black characters are being introduced. You know, it's going to be cringy at first. There's going to be these silly names. No, you know, there's a white dude on the screen talking about it. Now, I don't know what his sexuality is. Maybe that could play into, but you get what I'm saying. It's just like, it is going to be, there's going to be a learning curve with it.
So here's the thing, like, yes, does it, like, it's never going to be a perfect situation. And I think people have to kind of start at some point to stop getting so surgical, you know, as far as representation. You know, I'm not perturbed by the fact that this you know, concept, the purpose, this narrative is being explored by a white male. I'm not mad. You know what I'm saying? Is it frustrating that it validates the narrative more? Is it frustrating that it seems to provide a little bit more purpose or visibility? Completely different conversation. You know, I'm just happy about the fact that it exists now, because as revolutionary as it was in the 60s, you know, to start introducing, you know, characters of African descent, you know, with an African narrative, you know what I'm saying, you know, just like and just like African, you know, even though fantastic, still a backstory, you know what I'm saying, like that was ahead of the curve. And there was a learning curve. Some of it was, you know, looking back, because hindsight's 2020, we evolve, we understand how narratives in pop culture can inherently become problematic. And there were some of those themes in the comics, you know, but we grew as the community, you know what I'm saying? The comics grew, you know, the space and the universes that were developed in these comics expanded, and they evolved the same way that our own societal standards evolve as well. So, again, like, it's going to take some getting used to. Like, when I hear the word snowflake, it's just like nails on a chalkboard, you know, but again, you know, to look the other way or just think of something else, you know, every time I hear that word, just so I can explore, you know, the validity and the narrative, you know, I'll do whatever I have to, you know, to validate that this needs to happen and that this narrative is reflective of the current status quo. You know, it happens in peaks and hills, folks, you know, like, that's how we grow.
Yeah. I think it has the opposite effect of their intention. It makes this word snowflake and safe space even cringier than empowering it with these characters. I think if they kind of failed on those ones, I wish it was. I liked what they were saying. The execution is way off here, and the timing is horrendous based on what's happened with Diamond Comics this week.
It's a bad marketing decision. Again, it's not what I would have used. I think they were playing, you know, to kind of like the same derivatives that were, you know, used for like old, you know, comic lore, like back in the old Marvel days. I think this was trying to pay homage to something. Like, it was supposed to be kind of like cringy, but like in a funny way. And they completely missed it. And I don't think there's really, for the market that they're targeting, you know, as far as like who they're really relying on to carry this narrative, they could have done better. You know, because it's very like, it almost is cynical, you know, like where it's just you know, or sarcastic even, where it's just like they really couldn't think of something better than, like, you know, a better proxy than Snowflake, you know, just to title this particular character that is, you know, exploring, you know, like the non-binary like identity. Like, really really? Like this was this, so that part of it where it's just like there's almost like a privilege of like cognitive dissonance where it's like because this narrative is being explored by someone who those who speculate in this arena benefits from certain systemic privileges, that they're able to inject these proxies in and still find them funny, or, just like kitschy or like on the nose enough, to create a whole comic narrative where there are other people who are harassed daily and subjected to these proxies, so it just there's a level of insensitivity.
Well, he's the face of this video, but I do know some of the actual creators of the book are firmly in is represented.
Still, it's just it's handled with a level of it's not handled gracefully. It's clumsy, it's clunky. None of these names don't roll off the tongue. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, granted, like neither. It's just they failed the demographic marketing wise that they were trying to target. I hope
made
like
that demographic become a target too. This makes it worse.
And I hope like hell that they have at least the writing and like the world development, to back such a critical error. But I don't have that faith. I feel like they're gonna bumble, the world building too. So I'm just kind of like,
I think what it feels like to me, I could be wrong, but what it feels like to me is that whole reclaiming hatred words.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like was done with certain words that we won't mention, obviously, N-word, F-word, those words that communities that were used as forms of attack against them reclaim those words for themselves. And this feels like a very, like you said, Rashi, clumsy and clunky way of trying to do that. And I don't see it working well with not just general audiences, but even marginalized audiences. I think there's going to be a lot of them that feel like you, that it's like, oh, this is kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We should finish the video because I actually have one more, because this is the other one that's come out. We'll get to that. This actually, to me, if you took this guy off and you just had the video clip and showed it like this is a Comicsgate comic making fun of it, I would believe it. I mean, that's why they fail so hard. It feels like a parody making fun of SJW comics. Really, it does. It's like, this feels like a Comicsgate comic mocking them, introducing characters. That's what I honestly feel. All right, let's finish this.
Power. And safe space is the person who has the more defensive power. The idea was that they would mirror each other and complement each other. B negative is the goth kid. When
I kind of like
a
this
baby,
one.
he got a rogue
life-saving blood
transfusion. Yeah. We assume from Michael Morbius, and now he has a very similar look and very similar vampire powers. B negative also is obviously a pun. It's a blood type, which is great for a vampire character, and it's also a proud ownership of the idea of having a bad attitude. I want the people who read our New Warriors to feel all of the excitement that they felt if they read the 90s one. We want it to have big, colorful characters, personality clashes, romance, a diverse cast, which is something that the New Warriors titles have always strived to make a priority. Every New Warriors comic has always felt like a reflection of the year that it came out. And I don't think we're worried about being dated. I think we're way more interested about it being now.
Well, that's not going to happen, unfortunately. This is, oh my gosh. This just gives them ammo. Oh, sorry. That just gives them ammo. It's not going to happen now with the Diamond distribution. All right, we're that.
Well, again, unrelated.
Well, I mean the timing. That's why this is trending so much.
Speaking of which, Wonder Woman was pushed back too to August.
Yeah. I was going to talk about that in a movie talk later, but we might as well give a hint to it now. The theater owners.
Jesus Christ.
What?
Idiot in the fucking comment again. That's all.
Oh, all right. Well, what was I saying? The theater owners really freaked out about Trolls World Tour, that it's getting a VOD release first. And that's when the Wonder Woman says, no, we're pushing it back, because they got pushback from the theater organization. So there is a fight that's happening. I was going to talk about movie talk. All right. Okay. We'll get to the next trailer, because this was they were also right after. It's a 1-2 punch. And this came out, and then this next video, and now we hear about the Diamond Distribution, and the AJWs are spinning the narrative that this is the cause, they're exploiting a pandemic with people losing their jobs. Do your own thing, build your own community. I applaud that, but is it really helping comics or helping themselves? And I'm sorry you're upset, Lunga.
No, I'm not upset.
Okay,
I'm not upset at all. It's just I see certain things and I'm like, how can people be that dumb? That's what. It's not upset. It's just like sometimes the level of stupidity astounds me.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's move on. All right. Okay. Children of the Atom. Now this one, I think some of the characters look actually pretty cool, and even am I wrong with this, Lunga? You know DC a lot. If we didn't have these type of side characters that mimic the main heroes, maybe we would never even have Batwoman. I mean, there's a history of doing this in comics, and a very successful history. So this isn't exactly new.
No, and DC mantles get carried down a lot.
Right. So a lot of the narrative push that, they can't create their own new characters. I wish they focused more on new characters for representation myself, because I think it has a better opportunity for success.
There is a money thing involved too. People think it's that easy just to make new characters, and I'll be honest with you. And while as a writer, I would say, try to make new characters, but new characters in comics, with comics struggling like it always does, it's hard for those books to succeed. And they'll make the book will automatically get an immediate push with a name recognition. You know what I mean? So that's why they lean towards that more than newer characters, because newer characters are a gamble. So for every new character you have, you're gonna have to have 2 or 3 like this. You know what I mean? To keep the whole thing afloat.
So this is important for This Week in Woke, because this has actually, at the time, I wasn't going to cover this, Boshti, because it happened last week. But then with Diamond Distribution news coming out today, it's important to talk about. And we do hope all these people will get their jobs back up and running after this is over, and comics get back in the shops, because it has ramifications for comic shops.
Lunga, can you hear me too?
Yeah, I hear you.
You might maybe have to go out and in.
Can you hear us, Boshti?
I'm gonna leave and come back, y'all.
Okay. All right, we'll wait till she gets back till we start it. But comic book shops are so important to geek culture, and they need the Diamond Distribution to get back on track. It's not something to applaud, and the Comicsgate may not realize how much important it is for Marvel and DC to keep running, and they get those printing companies to have constant work, because if they don't stay in business, they're not going to have anyone to print their comics either. It's important for everyone to succeed. It's important for everyone to succeed, and I don't wish Comicsgate to go away. I just wish them to get. Ethan once told me to man up. I'm like, what is your fan group doing? I really want people to man up and be more respectful to each other. But let's take a look at this. I don't think this one deserved it. It also got downvoted all to hell. And we're going to watch it now.
There's so many things I could tease about Children of the Atom, but I will say one thing, and that's new characters.
X-Men is supposed to be something that is, important to the now. And so what is more now than Zoomers?
Vita Ayala is one of the creators that gets criticized a lot, and she is definitely part of the community in representation at Marvel. She creates a lot of these characters that get criticized a lot. I've seen her name pop up I'm sorry if I missed. I'm not sure.
It's Vita Ayala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to miss.
She's more than my guess. Well, I won't guess, but
okay.
And with the name like Vita Ayala, I would assume they are part of the Latinx community or they are of Hispanic derision. So that's my guess. Speculation. I'm probably wrong somewhere there, but
this looks kind of exciting to me. Mm-hmm. Let's keep watching. Let's get our thoughts.
Yeah.
Children of the Atom has 5 new characters at the heart of it that Vita very meticulously wrote out entire backstories and histories and families and anything you want to know about these characters. Vita has thought about it already.
One of them has a TikTok. One of them has a fitness Insta. One of them is basically the moderator for the mutant subreddit. One of them is a cosplayer, and the other one makes mutant music. For so long, it's like the larger media in the X-Men universe is like, mutants are bad, and like the X-Men are evil because they're mutants, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what would Zoomers think of that? They would be like, no, they're great. Like,
how the X-Men react to these new characters who are their sidekicks is a major part of the story that is going to have all sorts of ripples through their titles and ours.
But also, it's an X-Men comic. There's going to be powers, and there's going to be punching, and there's going to be bad guys, and all that kind of stuff.
I'm very excited to have Vita Ayala and Bernard Chang as part of this title.
Bernard really, really brought the thunder on this. It's really incredibly dynamic.
Because he not only had to design these superhero identities, but also these civilian identities and like people's moms and like their little brother. And he's making these characters real and whole in a way that a lot of artists probably couldn't.
X-Men was some of my first comics ever. And to be able to play in that universe and also to add to that universe is really a dream come true.
I think some of them look cool. Now, some of them to me are more successful than others.
I am so excited about this.
Okay, cool.
It's getting ate up in the comments, and I am sad to see it. But I'm actually resonating with this storyline much more than I am with New Warriors. I think that this is for all that New Warriors lacks as far as being cognizant of itself, like being self-aware. I feel like this has a lot of like the details that they would need to basically tether. It's still very on the nose. Like I'm not
more successful though.
But it's more realistic and it's more playful. And honestly, it's playing with something that really needed addressing in X-Men. It didn't need a reboot. It needed a second wind, and that's destigmatization it's synonymous with social media. A lot of things are validated, vetted, and justified through social media, and that includes certain aspects of social destigmatization. So the fact that they have all of these varying, body types, and they have all of these varying hobbies, these are all things that are very now that participants of society that are within that demographic, that age group, would be doing. These are things that they would be spending their time, doing. So it's just, is it fun? Is it a little gross that they, that they are saying that one of them has a TikTok, one of them, is a.
I don't know what a Zoomer is.
It's
they're Generation Z.
Gen Z, Zennials is the other.
Yeah, they're playing off of the boomer and calling them Zoomers.
Yeah, I think it's just funny. It's just it's all in good fun.
I didn't know what the hell it was either, folks.
Yeah, Gen Z is the generation after millennials. It's
a Zoomer. This is a Zoomer comic.
Yeah, no, I like it
right now.
And I love the homage. Like I love.
This isn't replacing X-Men either.
Not at all. It's basically it's filling in the gaps. You know what I'm saying? Because these characters that we know and love, they are gonna get old. You know, when we were faced with that reality in live action in Logan, you know, where Xavier was very brittle, very fragile. You know, and so we have to accept that if these storylines are going to become sustainable, these characters have to age and new generations have to come in, and they have to actually be relevant, not just within the universe that already exists, you know, within Marvel, but it also has to have some kind of tethering to ours as well, because in Marvel's universe, our own universe is a universe with an identity code and a number. You know what I'm saying? So it all has to fit into their multiverse. So for there to be parallels, I guess what I'm arguing is it to essentially be canon. So, you know, like
well Stories by Irish. I love you, Stories by Irish. So I'm gonna. This is an interesting This is a frequently
carbon copies.
But this is what comics have done. Sidekicks.
This plays
They're called
into
sidekicks.
Yeah, I would
what
say
I said earlier.
Yeah, and look maybe, but we have yet to see what they contribute to the narrative. And so I think people really need to suspend their disbelief a little bit longer, you know, as far as
I do wish though that not all of them were sidekicks of the exact character. I wish they did a few like new characters mixed in. I think it would be more successful that way. Like the sidekicks are always exactly like the.
But the thing is, do you realize how many X-Men there have been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people have been a member of the X-Men. Hundreds of characters have been members of the X-Men. I mean, it's how many more new X-Men do you need to make? I mean, it's just like there's like so
I think
many
we should review these comics. I think
I'd be thrilled. I would be more than thrilled to do a review.
I actually do have a question for Bashti, because I haven't heard this. I don't know if either posed or answered. And it is just legitimately a question, not that I have an opinion either way. How do you feel like is there a time where you see if there's, you know, minorities being represented, that they start to become an overrepresentation because they're not a majority of the populace in the US? You know what I'm saying? Like when you see a comic, let's say that there's Asian, Hispanic, African American, you know, gay, lesbian, all these different things, female, and there's basically no white guy unless he's the bad guy. Like, is there a point where it starts to feel like it's oversaturation or overrepresentation just for the sake of trying to balance the scales and going too far the other way?
Yes, there is such a thing as virtue signaling and cultural exploitation or appropriation. So if diversity becomes the status quo agenda for Marvel, where every person with a superpower or that is a mutant is a minority, that creates a sort of problematic subtext, if you would, where we typecast minorities as, you know, mutants or variations of what is considered normal. So in the 90s, when the shows, you know, kind of really blew up and, you know, blossomed, the animated series, I feel like it was created to essentially pivot, to create a direction where it wasn't really so much about over exploitation of those who were inherently a part of counterculture or who were not a part of the status quo, as far as like Hollywood or, you know, what America would like American cinema to be considered as reflective of America. So yes, I think there is a point where we might run out of stories told from a certain perspective. But if diversity becomes the status quo, it really doesn't, there is no minority to exploit, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't think that we're ever really going to see a point where comics are going to make all white men participation evil. I don't think that is endgame here. What's endgame is recognition and acknowledgement of existence, and that, you know, certain minorities may have, you know, special gifts or certain powers that just aren't for, you know, consumption, but really do contribute to the overall welfare of humanity and, you know, society. So I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime, because we're just really starting to brush the surface of minority storytelling. But if Hollywood doesn't continue to grow at the same pace that the internet does, then all the products that are created to supplement Hollywood narratives will dry up and, you know, become very tired and overexploited in that way. So
I think with everyone ragging on these comics, it'd be really interesting to give someone going in without their bias.
Yeah.
Because I know Bashti has said she has a little bit of bias towards the left, but I think she wants to go in. She criticized the other trailer just like everyone did. It just didn't work. So
yeah.
this one looks exciting to me. Yeah, it looks like fun. I mean, it's not. Here's the difference. Like, I complained about Star Wars. There was only one main story of Luke Skywalker that got changed. How many stories of the X-Men are already there? It's not erasing that. It's not replacing it. It's an additional story. It's a different comic, and see how it goes. Young Justice is all characters that are sidekicks, and that's that animated series. I don't like the new episodes as much, but that old animated series in the comic is really cool.
It is.
I love the Young Justice, and this is sort of attempting that again. So let's finish this, and then we'll have final thoughts.
And because I keep seeing a lot of comments about how they're making duplicates. Let's not forget here that X-Men is a brand. So marketing very much exists in the X-Men universe. So as much as people are complaining about how the costuming is just carbon copies of, you know, former characters, let's also acknowledge that, you know, capitalism also exists, branding exists, advertising exists.
Yep, that's what I started with.
World. And so the X-Men is going to have a certain aesthetic look, if you would. They look fantastic in black latex and helmets. Sorry, it's just the way that it is. So are we going to see repeats or repurposing of costumes or certain looks or tactical wear that was associated with with the X-Men generation previous to whatever this new Children of the Atom? Absolutely, because it's a part of the brand. So even if it deviates from, you know, Xavier's narrative, even if it, you know, is handed off, you know, like kind of the same way that Tony Stark's vision is handed off, you know, we are still going to see, even if it's beaten over the head blindly, blatant nods and acknowledgement to what contributed to X-Men's existence in the first place. So if that's a thing that's really going to hang people up, I don't know what to tell you, because let's
not forget, this is from the beginning. Batgirl wouldn't exist if they didn't do this. She is very successful.
Supergirl.
Supergirl, and also one of the most successful. If you liked Logan, what's her name? I forget.
The new Wolverine.
Yeah.
The girl with the
I forgot her name. Rios
it's his daughter is all that matters.
Well, it's not really his daughter, but
man, I blanked on the name. But that is it can be successful. If they overdo it, does it get stale? Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, but it would stale out if they didn't think it through. You know what I'm saying? If they continue to treat like diversity like a plot point instead of like an actual
there's a thing though
narrative, then of course it's going to get exhausting. But
in the last few years, they've made. Captain Marvel originally was male. Now she's been female for a longer time than the rest of them, about 8 years now. But they made Captain Marvel female. They made Wolverine female. They made Thor female. They made Iron Man female. The She-Hulk. There's a She-Hulk already, so they didn't have to make the Hulk female.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, but so. Not that I'm saying it's a problem, but you see this is what I was talking about when it's oversaturation. It's like literally all of them are turning female.
And that's when people start to say, hold on. This is evolution. This is societal evolution. In basically how it happens organically. So that was the first wave of diversity, was acknowledging that women were also equals in the workplace. And I don't want to get into like genetics or just I don't even want to touch that, but acknowledging them as at least financial career equals, you know what I'm saying? So that's the first wave. So of course we're going to see tons of Jane Foster as Thor, and Batwoman, and then and so on and so on. That had to happen in the 90s because that was very relevant to what was happening in the workplace. The boom started in the in the 80s because it almost became mandatory for women in the workplace to have college degrees the same way that men did, and continued in the 90s, and we started to see more representation and like more uniformly male career choices, including politics and just like upholding justice. So we were going to see that in the comics too, even just like from a vigilante standpoint. So now, the next wave is going, to be from an ethnicity standpoint, and then the wave after that, because it hasn't, because we still have to grow as a society is in representation and acknowledgement. It'll come from it'll touch on gender as far as gender diversity or gender anarchy, if you would, where people just do not want to adhere to gender norms. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to acknowledge that and the particular X-Men space as well. But it can't all happen at once, and it can. It just would require a lot of money and research and acknowledgement and visibility on certain aspects of diversity that still need resources, research, and that representation. It's just it'll happen when society is ready for it to happen. So yes, are people kicking and screaming right now? Absolutely, but not nearly as much as there is an overwhelming roar of pride and acceptance for these materials to exist.
Yeah, I look at it like heroin. I look at it like heroin. Like, you can't just pull someone off heroin. They got to have that detox, and they got to have that methadone treatment, and it's got to be titrated in to where it's like it for a lot of people it's a huge culture shock all at once. And for without thinking of it pragmatically, they're looking at it as an invasion rather than just normalizing diversity. And that's the problem I have with it.
Destigmatization versus infestation, and it's framing. It's all framing. And if people would just stop looking at it as like as a problem, there is no problem. because these people exist, this is a real thing. You know, it's not just something, you know, that was, you know, that people are projecting into society. Like, no, it isn't. It is a constant dialogue that, you know, needs attention and as much visibility as possible. Now, I am not really sound on my, you know, place as far as just like capitalistic gain, as far as just like buying into, you know, perspective. You know, I don't feel like this is something that people should have to pay for, but if it incentivizes the framing so to not be so negative, then that's just something that I have to live with. So, you know, sorry.
I'm gonna look into I'm gonna look into Marvel Unlimited possibly for this week in Woke so we could discuss this stuff. I don't know how that will work if sharing a login or whatever, but I'm gonna research it. I might show that later. Share the screen. Let's finish this video. Might as well. We only have a few seconds left.
So my takeaway is this: is it's just like always bet on what's a safe bet, what has results, what has tenure. So if that means borrowing the likeness of heroes that we already know to explore new narratives, and in, you know, contrast to exploiting proxies to take well-deserved risks, I'm always going to falter on where the data is. If there's a cache of data in success in venturing new narratives by just borrowing likeness from other places, I'm always going to default to that instead of exploiting things in pop culture that we know to just be proxies for a certain demographic to again explore a narrative. So that's just my stance on like these particular two, as far as, you know, one Marvel franchise versus the other franchise. So
all right, let's just, there's only like 15 seconds left, so
So if you've never read an X-Men book before and you're only familiar with them in other mediums, this is a great place to start off.
It's almost like the kids are our perspective. So anything that you don't know, you're discovering it through these kids. I don't think we've seen this perspective in X-Men comics before. I think people are going to super dig it.
Okay. April 15th. So I don't know. I'll have to do an update. I don't know how this is going to work now. Digital, it might be.
It's not tax day anymore. They did change that, but it's tax day.
What's that?
I said it's not tax day this year because they pushed the tax day back to June.
Yeah.
But that's tax day.
So we're going to give our final thoughts on what we think of this Diamond distribution, what's going to happen with comics, and I'm going to look into that Marvel Unlimited. I prefer to get the physical copies, but in reality, with this day and age, it's going to be easier to do that. My wife really, but right before all this happened, we were really enjoying going to our local comic shop. I had 2 videos I've done there.
I know, it was cute.
And I still didn't review those or read those Rise of Kylo Ren. And that is very successful, that comic series. It's sold out like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do it right, hey, people have different opinions on the actual sequel trilogy, but the comics are...
Kylo Ren was the most popular character out of the sequel trilogy, so that's no surprise that his comic book is going to do well. That's the one character people who hate, who even people who hated the sequel trilogy said, well, I wouldn't mind seeing more Kylo. So I mean, that's why
it's
you
true.
know what I mean.
It's really just so true.
And it's not because of Adam Driver.
I mean, for me it is, but whatever. Live your best life.
Hey, he's a good looking dude. I'm comfortable in saying that. I don't know if I'd go as far as Bashti, but yeah.
I mean, I
have no problem saying someone's a good looking dude. If they are, they are.
I mean, whatever. Like I said, he had shoulders enough for the whole franchise, so it's just.
My daughter keeps picking on me because she says I have a man crush on Sam Elliott. I'm like, well, how could you not have a man crush on? Exactly, it's Sam Elliott.
It's like I don't even have a penis, but like here I am.
Well, I would like to review some of these comics. It gets me interested.
Dead air. No dead airs. It's Max talking. Please.
Yeah, he's talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's hard to.
Okay.
I would like to review some of these comics, including Rise of Kylo Ren. I know you're still working on that, Lunga. Your friend is going to be suffering from this, unfortunately.
Yeah. I haven't bugged him with anything going on because this is kind of crazy. So, I don't know what's going on with that. I might have to just go out and get him on my own.
You know what, Carmelo. That's it. I don't want to put you on the spot, but just for an interesting video is for him to say how it's affecting his business and what he thinks. I would love to hear his thoughts on all this of Diamond Dish. Yeah, I mean, if he'd be willing to. I know he's probably dealing with his family and stuff. It would be a really interesting interview to hear an actual comic book shop, how they're dealing with this, what they think of Diamond Distribution. If I don't know if he'd want to delve into what he thinks of indie online, not to go too hot on it, but what he thinks.
Well, I mean, last time I had him on, we did talk about stealing Solo. So
yeah, no. So that would be. I would love that interview. If you're willing to take a suggestion for another interview, if it's possible, and he'd be willing to, I would. Yeah, I would love to come on too. Bosty would be great. It'd be really interesting, especially considering that they're shut down now. Yeah. We'd love to hear from him because it goes right to what's going on. Go right to the source. You know, we get all these people that are having these campaigns online that is really leaving the comic book shops out of the equation. And now they're just dunking on them when they're when you see someone on the ground. Do you kick them? That's what these groups are doing.
Well, because they don't want to be on the ground and they want something to get clicks on, and that's what they can get clicks on because their audience is just enraged 24/7, and that's what they want to live off of. And then people say, "Oh, you're jealous and you're haters, motherfucker! You making a business and a living off of haters."
I just thought of a great topic for a quick video. Before you back Cyberfrog Wreck Planet because of the distribution problems, remember Diamond Distribution is going to be back way before Wreck Planet ships.
But I don't even get that. It's like, listen, as a comic book fan, if my comic titles were not distributed because of this, I'm not going to go looking for someone else to read just because they're gone. It's not.
I mean, this is what they're going to be pushing.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if I buy certain titles, I buy those titles because I like those characters. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. I like those characters, and that's why I get them, not because I need to have a comic book. You know what I mean? Like you and me have this argument back and forth because you says you'd buy Cyberpunk just because you like the art. Well, here, Max, you hate. Give me a story you hate. You can't stand. Give me a movie or a story you hate.
That I hate?
Yes, completely hate.
I mean, I used to hate the sequel trilogy storyline, the movie.
Okay, let's say
the last Jedi. I used to,
but let's say EVS made a comic book series with his art of the sequel trilogy. Story not changed, same story, no changes to the storyline. It's just his art. Are you going to buy it just because he's the artist?
No.
Okay, so don't give me that bullshit. I don't care what the story is. I just like his art. The story makes a damn difference.
Yeah. Well, I like these anthropomorphic characters. Like I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think Cyberfrog is a good idea. I just think his personality sucks.
I like TMT too, but I like the original Eastman and Laird ones. Why? Because they were good stories. Yeah. But I never bought the Archie comic ones because they were stupid kid stories.
I think he could. I think when he just focuses on his comics, he could do good. Like I have
as an artist, he's great.
I don't know. I'm waiting to see if the story's actually good, but the art amazed me and intrigued me.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. He's a talented artist.
Right.
The premise of Cyberpunk doesn't intrigue me at all.
Okay. Well, it does. It does to me. I still want the comic. It's just, and I don't like canceling people either. I'm willing to separate the artist from him, the personality.
I love Green Lantern. I love Green Lantern.
I'm not going to go broke supporting it either with his.
Here's the thing. I love Green Lantern.
Doubling his prices.
Green Lantern is one of my favorite heroes too. I have the rings all inside of my computer over here, and he's one of my favorite too. I'm not going to throw away issues of Green Lantern I have just because EVS was the artist.
Yeah.
If I love Green Lantern, I love Green Lantern. Mm-hmm. And if he's a good artist, he's a good artist. But what's important to me is the character. Do I like the character? And is the writing? That to me, that's the most important. Is the writing good? Is the story intriguing? If the story is intriguing, I don't care how nice it looks. I need a story.
Well, I thought I'd share this Marvel Unlimited because I'm curious about it now. I've known about it before, but especially as things going on, this might be the only way to read those new issues. I hope they keep the dates. I don't know if they're going to keep the dates on those comics. If they do, we'll try to get a review in Boshti and Alonga if we can. I don't know how that's going to work because obviously the comic book shops are not going to be available to get these comics, but they might have digital release. Mm-hmm. But here's the tiers just to give a look. And this is all half the price of Wreck Planet. You get over 27,000 digital comics. Only $9.99 a month if you're not sure. Free 7-day trial. Hey, if you don't want to pay a damn thing while you're in quarantine,
I get that.
You could try to give 7-day trial.
And I get that with the DC streaming service. It's all just a million DC titles on there.
Yeah, I have that too. I just need to download it on my. Well, I need my own iPad. My wife has an iPad. I have an iPhone. I can read it on my iPhone, I guess. But let's go down here. Here's and the annual pass looks pretty cool because you get a special item. Most popular $9.99 a month. $69 a year. That's pretty good. $5.75 for 12 a month, but for 12 months, and $99 a year. But you also get this new exclusive kit with an annual pass, and it has limited edition Hasbro Marvel Legends Deadpool Terror Inc. figure. I'm not like too hype on the pink Deadpool, but it's still a cool figure.
Cyclops. Well, that's Deadpool, man. He's always been that way.
Yeah,
they'll have so that fits. Me personally, I wouldn't get this just because I'll be honest with you. The only thing Marvel that interests me is the movies, the comics. I mean, when I was a kid, the first thing got me into comics was Wolverine and X-Men in the 90s. Now I loved DC heroes from the Super Friends, the cartoon, when I was a kid, but the first comic books I actually bought was Wolverine and X-Men, and then shortly after I started buying the DC ones. But that was back then, and I think I just liked the era back then in the 90s. McFarlane was there with doing Spider-Man, and Jim Lee was doing X-Men, and it was just like I liked it better. And then the stories, those were the only ones I really liked. I didn't get into Avengers and Thor and Iron Man and all of that stuff, and so it just kind of bled. Like even right now, the only things I'm actually even somewhat interested in reading is the whole House of X stuff.
Well, here's the House of X variant cover, 2 variant comics.
Yeah, but again, I'm not getting the whole thing. I'll just go buy those damn comic books or just buy the trade paperback when it comes out. There's no reason for me to get the whole thing.
Longa, if I get it and then we work it out, I don't know how it's gonna work. I guess I could just share my login. It's fair if you don't share it too much. I don't know. We'll figure it.
No, people share things with me. I don't share with nobody.
Okay. Well, I'll share with you two if we can get some content out of it and I can justify it.
It's not illegal. He consented to share. Don't report this stream. No crimes here. Nothing to see.
I mean, we're giving an honest review. It's for review purposes, and we're a team, so it makes sense. And I can have it on taxes then.
Actually, I'm gonna hop out real quick. I gotta go say goodnight to Lovely. Because I actually have a girlfriend, so I gotta just go upstairs and say goodnight to her.
All right, well, thanks.
We should just end it here.
Yeah, we are. Thanks for coming on. Just so you guys know that are watching, and I don't know if you two are up for it or not, but Lewis is going to have a stream in 30 minutes that he's invited us to.
I already told him I'd come on.
Okay, so Boshti, if you're up for it, even if you don't stay the whole time, if you pop in for a few minutes, that might be fun.
I might make a cameo.
Yeah, because their streams have been going pretty crazy. They're having lots of fun. Yeah. So we'll end it here. Tell us in the comments if you want at least me and Boshti to review these comics, and I need to read more comics, especially since we're at home.
Should I do it the other way and make a spade instead of a heart?
Yeah, do it. But cheeks on bottom, baby.
So I guess we gotta make the booty a little more bootylicious.
Yeah, give it a little stank on it.
Nathan, I can't share too much. I don't know. I'll think about it.
No, Boshti only. Sorry.
Yeah, so I might do that to support the show, and it's talked about a lot on the internet, and you only get one perspective. The loudest barking voices on the internet. It would be great to hear Boshti.
Oh, and again, before we go, guys, Sorry to interrupt. I know I do that a lot.
You do, yeah.
At least I'm self-aware of it, and
everyone's aware.
Just kidding. But I know because you forget to say this, and I gotta let everyone know.
Yeah.
Guys, please remember, if you want to help out people in need right now during this time, we do have the Great Order merchandise up, grayistheway.com. Please head on over there, pick up some merch. 100% of none of it's going in our pockets here. 100% of the profits are going to CDP COVID Response Fund. So that way you can pick up some cool stuff and help people in need if you can afford it. So please check out grayistheway.com.
Yeah. It's true. And if you do pick up our merch, be sure to take a picture of yourself on Instagram or Facebook and hashtag Great is the Way, because I will be monitoring that hashtag very closely since I'm responsible for all the social accounts. And you might just get a shout out from us and a repost on our story. So go ahead and check us out at The Great Order on Instagram. And when you purchase your merch, tag us hashtag Gray is the Way. And that's gray with an E, not gray with an A, because we are bougie over here.
That's right. It's the bougie gray.
Yeah, and Mochi wants me to get the hooded sweatshirt with the zipper, I think. She's like, get me that one. And I'm okay.
We got 3 shirts. I got the black one and a gray one coming. I got a blue one for Marie, and Brian's making me a custom fitted baseball cap for it.
I probably will get the beanie because you all know how much I love looking like a Seattle bum. So
and leave us feedback about Lunga on this week.
Yes, let him know
how much. Especially you know who in the comment. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let me know. Let Max know how much you hate me. Especially Newphobic. You can let him know how much he hates me. Because for every downvote you get of me is another 5 minutes he will put me on the show. So just keep downvoting it, and the more you'll see me.
Oh, someone just left. 2 people just left. Leave feedback if you like the difference of opinion. Yeah, but you're still here, Phobic. I thought that was you that just left. This is what. Hey, Phobic. What have I always promised with you on my channel? I have never lied. I want different opinions. It makes a better conversation. So that's what we have here. So that's where we'll end it. Go to the Nerd Report for Louis Lecca's stream later, and it's going to be a hot one.
Go.
And I'll see all you there.
El Caliente, muy fuego. Go check it out.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.